All right. I'm looking left right now because I'm looking at chat, because chat's on the left. And over here is what I'm going to be working on. Okay. So once you can see my screen over here. All right. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this talk is basically give a walkthrough of how to install Grist. And I prepared a little something for this. I'm going to drop a link in chat for this. I prepared a little, it's over here. It's just, if you can read my screen, it's Jordi GH on GitHub, GristCon 2025. Here's a link in chat. Theoretically, you should be able to follow this along, except that there is one step. The first step that's required to do this is to already have a server with a domain name. I'm not going to do that part. I hope if you're going to self-host, you can at least get a server with a domain name. I did that part myself before this chat, before this presentation, but everything else I'm going to be doing live. I'm going to be installing Grist live there, using that little thing there. And the instructions that are from that repo are here on the left, and then my Emacs here. So let's begin. I'm going to be working on the terminal here in the middle. The first thing to do is to SSH into our server. So my server is called GristCon. That's what I called it. And here we are. Hopefully we get in. Okay. This is just a bare Ubuntu server from AWS. There's nothing in it right now. So we're going to install Grist here using this little thing. So using the thing that I bought here, by the way, I need to say a few more things about this. I created a little Docker Compose configuration to do this. It's synthesized from two existing ones. Oh, it's opening the wrong window. I want this to open somewhere else. Give me a second here. Let's open over here. I have a couple of, if you go to our Grist core repo and you go to Docker Compose directory, we have some examples here. And basically we grab two of these here examples, which is this one with Graphic, and then this one that has Keycloak. And I combine these two examples into the one we're going to be working on today. And these really are examples. There's of some benefits to doing this with Compose, Docker Compose, because you can get everything all at once. But you should also be using these Compose examples as inspiration on how to do it if you want to do a more thorough installation. Because with Compose, everything goes into a single EC2 instance, in this case, a single installation. But maybe you want to have like a separate server for your, not a server, a separate, maybe you want to use the entire infrastructure of AWS and put those database in a separate RDS instance. I'm still thinking they to use AWS, but you can use something else similar, whatever it's called, cloud compute or in Azure, where you want to have like a separate service for your database, a separate service for your Redis. But you can use the Docker Compose examples as an inspiration for how to do those things because they have most of the configuration. If you want to do it with separate things, you take the Docker Compose examples and build your own thing. All right, so back to the Docker Compose example that I actually built. We're following this part right here. The first thing is to clone the repo. By the way, one more thing I want to say, if you have any questions during this presentation, I timed it and I should have enough questions to answer them live. So if I'm doing something and you don't know what I'm doing right now, please type it in chat. I'm looking at chat. I'll be able to answer your questions. Right now, the first thing is to clone this repo that I have on the right. This one, the GristCon. Okay. So here we are. And what we have here is a compose file and a few other tools here. And the very readme that I'm reading through on the left is on here. The first thing I'm going to do here is install Docker because everything's built Docker Compose. For this example, I created a very simple Docker install script. You can read it if you like. We're going to take a peek at it over here. I'll make it bigger. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's a pretty these are pretty much just copying instructions from installing Docker and doing a few other things, just to make a few things quickly. So it should be run with sudo because I need to use sudo to install this. Okay, and over here on the right, we're seeing how the script is running. While it runs, let me just quickly go over what it's doing. Getting the Docker GPG key, It's going to be adding it to our thing here in Ubuntu, our sources.list. Then I have made it do an update and upgrades because we want to have the latest packages. And at the very end, it's going to be running the actual Docker install for all the parts. Notice that one of the things that it installs here, change the here how this looks, is going to start Docker Compose, which we need. And then at the very end, it should change the permissions of the user to add it to the Docker group so that the user that I'm running right now can use Docker without using soup. On the right, we see how it's progressing along. It shouldn't take too much longer. At some point, oh yeah, because it's about to upgrade. So it's installing Linux at the moment, like a newer version of Linux. But it shouldn't take very much longer to do. See. I'm going to go back to the instructions while that's going to be installing. We are going to need, once this is done, we're going to need to log out and log back in so the permissions that just created work out. Oh, almost done. Still in the book. Okay, and are we done? Oh, no. Okay, that was the upgrade. Now this is the Docker part. By the way, if there's another way, for those of you that missed it, we had a previous session just the last one on the other stage on how to use a YUnO host, which gives me another option. Okay, so that should be it. That should have installed Docker now. I can go back now. I have to log out from my SSH session, come back in because my permissions should be there for let me see. Okay, good. This is what I want to make sure. That was in the Docker group. So now I should be able to run Docker commands without using sudo. Okay. So let me go back into my GristCon directory. I have a little example here environment. So we need to configure a few environment things, and I have a template here. So right now we're in this part of the instructions. Yeah, Florent, I wasn't here to talk. That was really cool. Let's here's some instructions. We need to fill this out. So let's copy the end example. That's the .env, and let's edit it. I am by editorial. I'm using them on the right and Emacs on the left. So the domain that we're going to use here is gristcon.jordigh.com. That's my name. That's my domain. I'm hosting this on my own thing. I'm going to use the default email that we use is important because the default email is what becomes the admin. So I need to make sure that this is an email that's real because I'm going to use that's directory login.grist.com. The persist directory, I'm going to leave it as it is. For the main IO password, I should be the type some nonsense in here. It doesn't matter what it is, just as long as it's big and nonsensical. That is password is the same thing. That needs some nonsense here. Okay. The OIDC client secret, I'm going to leave blank for now. So I'm following these instructions right here. The reason is that we don't have that part yet. For OIDC, that's your authentication, and the authentication part is going to come up later. First of all, you need to actually start the authentication, for which we're going to be using Keycloak. So that's the next step right here. So we're going to be following the next step right here, and I'm going to be running Keycloak. So if everything worked right, I have my environment. I should be able to do Docker Compose. By the way, notice that it's Docker space compose because we're using the latest version of Docker. There's a lot of instructions still running around with Docker dash compose, which is the older version. Just make sure that you do it without the dash because that's the newer version of Docker that you use now. This is going to take a little while. What this is doing right now is it's pulling all of the services that come. So this is a fairly complete example. And notice that it's doing Trafic, for example. It's doing Keycloak that we want. It's doing MinIO. Trafic is going to be our reverse proxy. It's actually already configured to automatically handle this. I did it in the Docker Compose file. It's automatically doing this with Let's Encrypt. min.io is going to be for storage. So yeah, we can use external storage in Grist. In this case, what actually ends up being more space on the disk, but in a separate directory. In real life situations, you would use min.io, like, so you could put the storage in some kind of like uh what's it called, an EBS instance, for example, in AWS. You could have a separate storage there. Okay, now this is everything starting up here. This is going to get as far as starting Keycloak, which is the part that we actually want. Keycloak is starting right now, but it should fail soon. It's going to fail with this message right here. Realm does not exist. The reason that it's going to fail is because, sorry, Keycloak's going to succeed, but Grist is going to start, and then Grist is going to say, Keycloak, hey, can I log in? And then Keycloak's going to say, no, you can't, because there's nowhere to log in. We're going to need to go back to Keycloak and configure that in a moment. While this is running, I'm going to show you a little bit of the compose file. Make this bigger so you can read them more easily. Like I said, these compose files are mostly examples, but it shows you everything that you would need to do like a full Grist installation with all these bells and whistles. It's got the external database for Postgres. This is so you can have your home DB. That's the DB that contains all of your non-documents. Everything that's not documented in Grist, like the users and which documents exist and all that, that's the home DB. That's in Postgres in this case. For this example, we're using a single organization, the GristCon log. We're using forced login, so you can't. There's no anonymous user in this installation. These are all things you could change on your own. So feel free to look at this compose file and change whatever settings you think you want to change. And just if there's something you don't understand, just leave it as it is because it's probably there for a reason already. All right. So we got to where we're supposed to get. Grist has started, and when I tried to talk to Keycloak, Keycloak was like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such realm. Okay, that is good because now that means that Keycloak is running. The way I've set this Docker compose file on the left, you will see that Keycloak down here. Where's it go? Here. Keycloak is actually running. This is the Keycloak configuration. I set it to run at a relative path. So the nice thing about this is that I don't need a separate domain for Keycloak. You might want to do this in a different installation. But in this installation, if I go to GristCon.jordigh.com, well, first of all, let's see. The base one should be bad gateway. There should be nothing there. Well, let's inspect everything to work. Oh, sorry. Sorry, that was the wrong one. That's my personal one. I meant GristCon. This is the one that shouldn't work. So GristCon.com, okay, bad gateway. That's because Grist itself couldn't start. That's the problem right here. That's expected. But in this whole installation, Keycloak should have started. That should be over here. Okay. So as you can see, for this system installation, I have a sample image and password. So I can just use those to log in. These are supposed to be temporary. I'm going to change them right away. Going back to my instructions, you'll see that there's two parts here. We're going to configure Keycloak over here on the left and look at instructions. We're going to configure Keycloak, and then once it's configured, we're gonna tell Grist. Sorry, we're gonna tell Keycloak to let Grist use it to log in. There's a couple of steps for Keycloak. The first one is we need to create a realm, and right now that's because we're the master realm. We shouldn't be there. Keycloak expects you to create like a separate realm. Realms are like, I'm not sure if there's realms in Keycloak. They're like containers for your users. There should be like a specific container. For this example, because I use this name already in the Docker compose file, the realm has to be named my realm. That's all. It should just be created and there. So now there's a realm in my current one. It says here it's current. You can also confirm here in the menu that you're in the current realm. Once I created that realm, I need to create a user to put in that realm. I'm going to create a user for myself. My username is going to be Jordi. I need to put an email here, and it's important that the email matches what I created before. This email here has to match the email that I used before and the default email in Grist, because this is going to make this user um, the default admin user. And to this, I'm going to add my name and my last name. The nice thing about Keycloak is that it has a nice interface for all of this. The end goal here is that we're going to have logins all completely managed by Keycloak. And also Keycloak can also connect to other services. So we're going to get there in a moment. All right. Once the user is created, like I said, the default must be the same. And we need to also give this user a way to log in. I'm going to give myself a password so I can log in. Okay. And so I'm going to say it's not temporary because I just said it myself. Yeah. Okay. So Jordi now has a password. That's me. Okay. This gets us as far as creating a user. The next part is to allow Grist to connect to Keycloak. For this, we have to go into clients. Make sure you're still in my realm. One thing we can do right now is check that we can actually log in to Keycloak as Jordi. So I should be able to sign out from the admin interface. I need to change the realm. So the realm should be, it's in the URL. I don't know how to change realms without going editing the URL, but it should be into this one, my realm / account. I should be able to log in with two Keycloak only, just what I already created. I want to save. Okay, and that confirms that at least I can log in to Keycloak. Now, but of course, the point here is to log into Grist. So let's go back to the admin. I'm going to sign out to just confirm that I have an account here in Keycloak. I'm going to go back to the admin, which is there. Let's go back to the admin. And by the way, in a real situation, so I'm getting a warning at the top that I should change the admin. You should do that. I am not going to do this for this talk, but you should go and create like a different admin user and delete the original one, or change the password at least. Anyway, so now that we got this far, we have a realm. We have make sure we're on the right realm. We're in the my realm here. Okay, we're in my realm. And inside my realm, I need to create a client. This is what Grist will used to connect. So this, now we're following this part of the instructions over here on the left. Create this client. So create the client. The client ID has to be a Grist client because I already used this name in the YAML. Leave everything here blank. We could put stuff there, but it's not required. This is important. Grist requires authentication because we need to use a secret key, we need a client ID and client secret. So we need this. The center flow should be left on. And then we need a few more business information here. We need to set the root URL, which is this part right here. So put the root URL here. Valid redirect URI comes here. And valid post URIs are these. Okay. By the way, these are instructions that you can also find on our website. If you go to our support stuff, install OIDC, there's an example of Keycloak, basically the same thing what we're following here. And we save. So now that we created a client, there are credentials now for it. And this is a client secret that we couldn't set before. So before, when we were starting this whole thing, it didn't work. Grist can start. So we're going to stop right now all of our Docker Compose installation so that we can use this new client secret and give it to Grist, so that Grist can log into with Keycloak. Everything's stopped. Let's go back to our configuration, and we're gonna add now this client secret that Keycloak created for us. Copy it, paste it, save. Oops, what did I do? Oh no. Oh. Oh. I'm stuck in. Oh no. Okay, I am stuck in. I don't know what I did in Vim. I'm stuck in Vim. What? How do I get up? Oh, I know what I don't remember what's going on here. I have the wrong keyboard on. Well, that was embarrassing. Let me just make sure it was correct. Client secret, that's what it is. Okay, I love the right client secret. Phew. Oh my god, that was scary for a second. I got stuck in the thing is that my keyboard changed and I didn't realize what's going on. Okay. Oh, now that that's back on, that works. So we should have a client secret now. So let's start again. It's going to take a little while. I want to mention a few more things about the compose file. Notice that there in the compose file, there is a service called min.io setup. This really only needs to be run once. All that really does is it sets the right permissions in min.io. That doesn't hurt if it runs more than once, but if you want to do this for real, you could do this in a different way without needing the service. You could just get rid of the service after the first run, or you could do more compose things to make sure it's not there. Anyways, we've gotten as far as Grist, and there we go. Grist has now started. Flex server is ready. This is just good news. So let's see if this actually works. Our server's not restarted. Keycloak should still be there. Okay, Keycloak is still there, but now Grist itself should also be there. Let me just log out of Keycloak because Grist is gonna try to log me back in. Okay. So wait, hold on. Go to this URL. Oh, okay. So right. So that worked. I just tried. Okay, see what happened there. I tried to go here. GristCon. This is the Grist URL. But because Grist is configured right now to not allow anonymous logins, it immediately redirects me to Keycloak to log in. So I should be able to log in right now with the email and with a name and username and password I created for. So now this should log me into Grist. This was the problem that I forgot about. It's actually in my notes and I forgot this earlier. Keycloak right now, when I created my user in Keycloak, I forgot to specify that I had to make the email verified. So Keycloak logged me in, but then goes to Grist and says to Grist, hey, I have this user, but the email's not verified. So Grist refuses to log me in. This problem is not difficult to solve. Let's go here to Keycloak. Let's go back to the admin console. Let's go to the other realm, my realm. Let's go to the user. You see that's got a little exclamation mark there because the email is not verified. Let's just say the email is verified. The email is verified. There are ways to do this automatically, and we'll see how to do this automatically in a moment. You don't actually have to do this every time you create a user. But I forgot to do this time. Okay. This means that I should not be able to go back into Grist. And this time, I'm logged in. I'm logged into Grist. And here's my Grist instance. Jordi at getgrist.com. I am the admin, so I have access to the admin panel. You can see here that I have
is an actual record.
sandbox.
Yeah, it's a sale workflow. So
everything seems to be gone. Grist up to date. I'm on version 1.73.
This one, the
latest version. You can check out for new version. It's fine. Grist's latest version. everything here is peachy.
Why?
So let's see, can we create a document? Comments are here, neat. Here we can create a document. 1, 2, 3. Hello. GristCon. Okay, everything's fine. By the way, as you can hear in the background that as I'm doing all this, I'm getting the Grist logs here, everything running. There's probably something here about me logging in, loading the police statistics. Like see Grist is running in the background. This is all running here as I'm messing around here. These stock worker maps here are there. This is, I mean, I don't know what this little stuff is. This is like a Redis mapping around things. But the point is, it's working. It's all there. This actually didn't take that long. Of course, I front-loaded a lot of the work by having a Docker Compose file that did most of the work for me. But now I have Grist running with Docker Compose. I have Keycloak to manage users and create users. And I could just do this and keep it there. But let's try to add more users with a different. So I finished this part of the instructions. Let's try to add more users with a different login method, just to show you that Keycloak, the real benefit of Keycloak is, well, what if I want to let my users log in with something else? I already have Google or Microsoft or other means of logging in. If you want to do that, then Keycloak actually helps you a lot here. Let's go back to the Keycloak console. Back to the admin console on Keycloak. Again, every time I have to switch back to the My Realm. Okay. Back in the My Realm, you can see that you can provide other identity providers. So we're using here OIDC, right? Which is like a protocol in the OAuth spec. And this identity provider is jargon, which means it's the entity that tells you, hey, this is Jordi, this is Florent, these are the people that are allowed to log in here. Keycloak already has a bunch of them built in, and they're all fairly easy to set up. For this example, just because it's easier because I already have access to it, I'm going to show you how to log in with GitHub. So we're going to add to GitHub. We're going to add to Keycloak a GitHub login. So this is this part of the instructions. Oops, that's not what I need to do. Do this. Okay. This part more than that. Save it. Okay. Okay. All right. So to do this, I'm going to go into my GitHub and follow these instructions. I have to go into my settings in GitHub. So what we're going to do is we have to tell GitHub, hey, someone else wants to log in using you. So you have to go into your GitHub settings. And over here at the very bottom, your GitHub settings are called these developer settings. And you're going to create an OAuth app. The OAuth app is what tells GitHub, hey, I'm going to use you to log into this thing. And what I'm going to use is this is how it works. As far as GitHub is concerned, the OAuth app is Keycloak. And Keycloak is sitting in front of Grist. So you want to log into Grist, you get redirected to Keycloak, which can redirect you to GitHub, which is going to log you in all the way back to Grist. So you do want 2 hops one way just to get back to Grist. So we can create a new OAuth app here on GitHub. I gotta give it a name. It can be anything. Let's gonna call it Keycloak for Grist. Sure, I already have that name written down there. The next part is the homepage URL. And this is important in this case. You're giving it the URL of Keycloak, not of Grist. So the URL of Keycloak is here. I have it over here on the bottom. I can give it a name, doesn't matter what. And you gotta put the authorization callback URL. Keycloak actually already fills this out for you. So if I tell it, hey, I want to create a GitHub account, it says, sure, just give me some information. All it needs is an alias, a client ID, and a client secret. So this redirect URI that it builds for you is what you put back into GitHub. and I say that's cool, and I register the application. Okay, so this creates the application on. We're this far into the instructions. We fill in these things over here. But now we need to create a client ID. So this gives us a client ID. Sorry. Now we need a client secret because we need this information, piece of information. So this is what we do. We generate a new client secret. Oh, my mother's talking to me. Sorry. To do this, I need to tell GitHub that it's me. I send it to FA. Here's my 2FA. So that generates the. My God, mom. Sorry, excuse me. Talk to you later. Sorry. Okay. So okay, so now we have a key here. This is the key that we put back into Keycloak. That's the key here, the client secret and the client ID. Sure you copy this carefully. Last time I did this, I introduced accidentally a space in here. And when with a space, it meant that it didn't work. But that should be working now. Okay. I have the client ID and client secret. So now we have GitHub. I don't want to say this password. This should not work. Now we should be able to log in to GitHub using Grist. Using GitHub. Sorry, founding the Grist using GitHub. Right. Let's go back now to Grist. GristCon, GristCon. Let me log out here. Sign in again. And you'll see now that you can sign in directly to Keycloak as before, but now you have a different option here to sign in with GitHub. Clicking on this, let's hope it works. Yes. Okay. So that takes me GitHub, and now it says, "Hey, authorize Keycloak for Grist." And then, so you go to GitHub, it says, GitHub asks you, "Are you sure you want to use GitHub to log in to this thing?" And I say, "Yeah, let me in." This takes me back to Keycloak. This part I couldn't figure out on my own, but I don't know if anyone can tell me. The problem here is Keycloak wants to know my first name and last name. But when I log in via GitHub, GitHub doesn't have information. Usually you don't put your last name in. I don't know if you can do or not. Yeah, and I got an alert from GitHub that I just used GitHub to log into Grist. Actually, let me. Well, okay, we'll do that later. So now, when I'm trying to log in back to Keycloak from GitHub, for the first time, Keycloak says, "Well, what's your name?" Because GitHub didn't tell me. So I'm just going to put it in here again. I don't know if there's a way to avoid this to like make names optional, but it's not the wonders if you put them in here. Okay, and I should be able to log in now. And I have this problem again that there was something I forgot to do. When I went to the admin here, not this admin, the Keycloak admin. When I was here in the admin, and I changed to the realm one more time to my realm. When I have now entity providers here, I have this GitHub one here. There should have been, I should have gone down here. There is, after I hit save, I should scroll down. Those are my instructions. And there's here a trust email part. So this means that trust the email that comes from GitHub. So if you do this, people, when they come from GitHub, their emails will be trusted automatically, and we won't run into this problem that I ran here again. You hit here save. Go back to my user, because now I should have two users. I should have Jordi, which is the one I created for Keycloak, and the one using my personal email I use for GitHub, with jordigh.com. I'm going to have to go manually verify this email again so I can log in with it. Now that that's been done, I should be able to just log in again. Hold on, let me sign up. Sign in again. Sign in with GitHub. Right, of course, this is a different problem. The problem is that I logged into Grist, but my username does not really exist in Grist. Like Grist says, well, yes, you logged in, but nobody here lets you in because you're not allowed to use any documents here. What I need to do here then is to go back to my other username, the one that's Keycloak, log in here. In manage team, I need to add myself here, jordigh.octave.org, and say this is a member that's allowed to work here. So just because you can log in to Grist doesn't mean you're allowed to use it unless people on the Grist side themselves say, yeah, this user is expected to come here. So you can add a login method to Grist, but because of the way of this configuration works, where there is like no, it's single org. Back in the compose file, we created this to be single org. So when someone new logs in, they have to be allowed into this one single org, Grist.org, GristCon in this case. Because there's only a single org, and when any person logs in, they don't have an org to log in. So what we do here is have to add that person manually, just because of this part of our configuration in the Docker compose file. Anyways, now there's a user there. I should be able now to log out, sign in again, sign with GitHub, and there I am. This time I am jordigh@octave.org instead of jordi@grist.com. So I'm able to log into my self-hosted instance using both methods. And that's my talk. Again, I'm going to post a link to all of this in case you want to look at it again. Oh, I'm glad it will help. I post the link there again. I hope some of the stumbling things that I went through are illuminating. These things don't always go smoothly, but I think that's at least a bit realistic. I think almost everyone, when they try to do these things, may run into these problems themselves. And I ended a bit early. So we have questions, or we can just stop there. Let's see, perhaps someone may have a question. Patiently waiting. I'm glad you like that. Lee? Keycloak is pretty versatile. This I think is probably I think this is probably one of its biggest things that you can use. You're self-hosting, but you want to let your users log in with something that isn't on your thing, and you can just use any of these. If you don't have any of these and you want to use a different one, you can use the generic OpenID Connect OIDC. I find it a little tricky sometimes because it has like all of these things, but most of the time, all you really need is the client ID and the client secret. Most of everything else is like you can leave it default. It's OIDC is pretty useful to it's a pretty simple thing to do. You can also, I think there's also SAML. There's also SAML. You can also even use SAML. I'm actually thinking of switching to Keycloak for something that we're using. So, by the way, there are many ways to self-host Grist. This is just one way using her compose. There is just another way, also using Docker compose, that's a little bit more packaged than what this is, which is we have it. It's the Grist Builder Edition. So excuse me, Grist Builder Edition. So we also have the Grist Builder Edition that is pretty much the same thing as this, a little bit different, but it has more things to help you out, a few more scripts. One thing that I didn't cover in this talk that you might want to do is right now, well, what happens if I close my terminal? Like Grist is going to go down, right? Because it's running tied to my terminal. So typically for a real use case, you would put some sort of process management in this. I happen to like systemd, which I think works well. If you go to the Grist Builder edition, that's already bundled in there. So you have systemd to manage your Grist instance. It's very similar to this in that it's Docker Compose based. And right now it's using something else. It's using something called Dex and something called Athelia, which both together serve pretty much the same purpose as Keycloak. After doing this talk, I'm thinking that I might want to. Oh, Ethan, yeah. So now that you bring up Athelia, Grist Builder Edition does use Athelia, so it's not unrelated entirely because I'm just talking about it right now. And you can Grist Builder Edition uses Athelia instead of Keycloak, and it works very similar way. I'm sure I'm missing any talks on it. This is another option. It is a paid option. You can go to AWS and Azure and use it there if you like. And like I said, it's just one option. And I really do want to emphasize that these compose examples should really be examples. I encourage you to go through each of them and find one that sort of fits your need, and you can pick and choose like I did here. I took two of them, put them together, and I put Keycloak together with everything else. Yeah, that's all I got. If there's nothing else, I guess we can end early.